Yes, so Meniga solution is a software for banks that simplifies the digital banking infrastructure of banks. So technically, it's a middleware that sits between legacy systems of the bank and the online banking channels or the digital banking channels, and the heart of it is consolidation of accounts and transactions. So we consolidate the accounts and transactions from all the legacy systems. We enrich the transactions, meaning that we categorize the transactions into income and expense categories, like is it a groceries or is it a restaurant, and then we merchant map the transaction, meaning that we connect the transaction to a merchant in a merchant or a business directory, so you can look at where you spent on a map, for example. So based on this consolidated and rich transaction data, we built business modules. And the business modules are like a functionality for the end user, such as budgeting, goal setting, or cash flow projections, and also tools for the bank that make use of this data, such as profiling of users and data mining of the end users, and that allows a bank to target users, particular users that have particular spending patterns, for example, with a personalized message. And the business modules, they expose the functionality to the digital banking channels through APIs. So the bank builds, as a part of the digital banking experience and the mobile app, user experience that utilize the business functionality provided by the business modules and the core modules. Well, the integration is mostly about getting the transactions to our system, and that's always our integration project. That's different complexity depending on the bank's infrastructure, but this consolidation is really the biggest part of integrating our solution, and it's usually straightforward, and we are very experienced in integrating different banking infrastructures. Currently, most banks, they have our solution running as a dedicated cluster that is sitting in the data centers of the bank, operated by the operations teams of the banks that are trained to operate a Meniga cluster. That puts a little bit of burden on the operational teams of the bank. So now we offer also the solution in SaaS, meaning that the solution is hosted in the cloud, still fully controlled by the bank. The bank owns the data and is controlling the data, but it's operated by Meniga staff that is experienced operating Meniga clusters. That also means that new functionality, new business functionality, it automatically becomes a part of the infrastructure of the bank, and that allows the bank to move even faster without thinking about updates and maintenance of the solution. Well, maybe the approach of what steps they should take. So traditionally, the banks, they have been trying to extend the core banking systems to build new functionality into the legacy, but the Meniga takes it away. So puts it into a silo where it's much easier to innovate. And this transition to SaaS is something that we have been seeing recently much more appetite for. So now finally banks are willing and able to operate their part of their infrastructure in the cloud, and there's many forces that are changing this.